Okay, hey everybody. Welcome you guys to the call. This is going to be kind of our first leadership call. And I thought, what better way to kick off an In the Pink leadership call with one of my very favorite diamonds in the whole stinking company, Kendra Randolph. I have just, I don't know, I guess we've known each other for about a year now. I don't know, kind of off and on, but she just, I don't know, you kind of have those people that you connect with and you kind of think of like a soul sister because she is just an amazing person, an amazing mother, amazing leader, amazing friend, and I just love her dearly. And every time I am in any kind of call with her or even one-on-one, she just motivates me and inspires me, and I know that she is led by the Lord, and so when she speaks, it really comes from a place of being connected with him and being inspired by him, and so I just love always what she has to say. And if I'm not mistaken, Kendra, you're a certified John Maxwell trainer, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So not only is she awesome and wonderful, but she's actually got a certification that makes her qualified to speak on leadership. Okay?
I'm sorry, it just sounds funny. I'm qualified to do any of this. But
well, you're qualified for a lot of things, my darling. But Kendra, her journey, and maybe she'll share a little bit of her journey if you guys don't know her, really, she started out, and you need to go see her diamond documentary because it's awesome. Not a whole lot, not a whole lot. And she just focused and built her business in such a way that it exploded. And she rose to the top pretty quickly, not without roadblocks. And she might even share some of that with us, and is now a diamond and has been a diamond for a little while now. You're probably, I don't know, are you working on a second position?
Yes, well, my husband and I are growing his team. So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to be quiet now. And you take it away. And then after you kind of present what you have, what we've sort of talked about, Kendra and I have talked about some different things. Because it's a small group, I love that it can be intimate and we can ask her questions. So we'll do that towards the end, okay?
That's perfect. First of all, I really, when I hear people give an introduction to me, I really just kind of get cold chills. And I'm like, did she really just say that about me? Does she know what happened? Like, does she know really who I am? Like, I appreciate all of the compliments, but I want you guys all to know I struggle just like you guys do. I am a mom. I am a wife. I have personal growth and development and things that I still have to grow on. So, Dawn, I appreciate you saying all those wonderful things about me. And yes, if you need to mute everyone, I can unmute myself, Dawn. If that makes sense.
I can do it one at a time.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So thank you for that wonderful introduction. I feel the exact same way about you, Dawn. I have a kindred spirit when I'm around you and a soul sister, and I feel like the Lord led you to me for many different reasons. But when someone asks me to come and speak to their team, especially their leadership team, I do not to say to an elite group of women who have a phenomenal leader. I'm like, I couldn't say anything better or more than what Dawn says to you guys, because I know what a phenomenal leader she is. So thank you, Dawn, for allowing me and inviting me to come and do this. So, okay, so last night, I did not know what I was going to speak on. I was like, okay, what can I talk about that is going to motivate and inspire? And I really honestly did not know what I was going to talk about until last night. And I don't encourage you guys to do that if you're teaching and training a team. I think you should usually know exactly what you're going to talk about before you're going to talk about it. But it was one of those moments when I was like, God just was not really giving me what I felt led to share. And so I was like, okay, I've got tons of stuff I can teach and train on, but I'm one of these people that I really like to teach and train on what comes from my heart and what I feel like God kind of puts in me at that moment. And I don't know who it's for. And I always love to get that feedback, from the people when they message me and they're like, that's for me. And then what I realized is that it was usually more for one person. It was usually for more than one person. So I'm going into this knowing that this is for someone. And I also want to tell you, it's always for me. I always try to teach and train on something that motivates me, because if I can't be motivated, it's going to be really hard for me to motivate someone else. So as leaders, I want you to know that. Like, find things that you need to personally grow on and you need to actually develop, because it's going to hold your feet to the fire. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be a perfect leader. There are no perfect leaders. They don't exist. Every leader has to continually grow. So last night I was doing something that I don't do very often. And my husband and I have been married for 2 years now. Well, almost 2 years. This week is our anniversary on Thursday. And a little bit about my story. I started this journey as a single mom, and it was a struggle. You guys can watch my Diamond documentary. I mean, I was single. I was broke. This had to work for me. And in the midst of all of that, God brought me a wonderful family and a wonderful man. I always joke and say Plexus does not give people husbands and 2 extra kids. It did for me. That was not in the compensation plan. But for me, it brought me the self-confidence and the motivation that I was enough to be a wife again. I'm going to try not to cry because it's almost my anniversary, but I think about it, when I started this journey, I didn't really believe that I was enough. I did not believe that, I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. I didn't have the desire to become a better person. I had the desire, but I didn't have the tools. And so Plexus has just given me so much more than just financial compensation. And so when we got married 2 years ago, I had given up TV to become a jewel. I didn't have the time to do it, so I personally sacrificed TV. So when Michael and I have been married now for 2 years, and he's basically seen me watch zero TV. I still don't watch TV, and I'm a diamond. I tried to calculate how much money I could actually make if I took those hours. So if you determine what your profit would be, let's say you're making $10,000 an hour, maybe someone can do the math on that. $10,000 an hour, and you're working, say 16 hours a week. Do the math of what that is per hour, and you will quickly realize I'll give up some TV. So I was smart enough business mind to sit down and do the math on someone told me that Jewel made an average of $10,000 a month. So I sat down. So every time I say no to something because I want to go work my business, I think, okay, how much is that an hour? What could that buy my family? What kind of freedom would that give me for my family? And so I only say yes to things that I know are going to glorify my life and glorify myself. So for me, TV was out. I was like, there was nothing on TV besides maybe some of my Joyce Meyer or maybe something that was going to personally grow me. So I gave up TV. Okay. So last night, I love the Olympics. Does anybody watch the Olympics? I love the Olympics. Well, the good thing is it comes around I only like the Summer Olympics. So I'm a little bit of a swimming and a gymnastics. I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching the Olympics last night. So I stayed up last night watching the Olympics, and the Lord started speaking to me in such a, it was just almost audible in my life. I mean, not audible out loud. I wish I had that gift, but I don't. I wish I could hear him completely out loud, but I really was watching these stories, and I was watching these girls and these men train, and God was just giving me words. And so it reminded me, I haven't watched the Olympics since I became a diamond, because it was 4 years ago since I've watched the Olympics, and I haven't watched TV. And it was oh my gosh, the last time I watched the Olympics, I was struggling. I didn't understand what success looked like. I didn't understand dreams. I didn't understand sacrifice. I didn't understand really hard work and what it meant. And so as I'm watching the Olympics last night, these are kind of the words that I watched it through a different perspective because I am now an Olympian of my company. You know, I really feel like when you make it, it gave me cold chills just saying that. When you make it to diamond, like, that's it. You have your gold medal. You know, like, you have earned it. You have won it. You know, sapphire's like your silver medal, and emerald's like your bronze medal. You know, you're the top 1% of a company. Now, before I say that, what burdens me more than anything in my life, and it should burden you also, is that I want you to think about how many Olympians are out there in the world that never got the chance to be an Olympian. Their parents or someone did not believe in them to give them the opportunity to be an Olympian. Think about NFL players. There are probably kids that are out there that just didn't have the discipline. They didn't have someone to pour into them. They didn't have someone to say to them, Dawn, I believe in you. Jerry, I believe in you. Anita, I believe in you. As a leader, if you believe you have Olympians on your team, that is your job. That is your role as a leader, is that you have to believe in your team. You have to be the person that coaches them and inspires them, and even when you do not feel like doing it. Because trust me, there are times when I do not feel like mentoring or coaching one more person. I'm like, seriously, did you not see the comp plan? Now, Dawn and I are very similar. We are very red. So if y'all, does most of your leaders know what that means? Like red, yellow, green, blue. Okay. So red mean, yeah, they do, Dawn?
Yeah, maybe not everybody. So just do a quick recap.
Okay. So red basically means we don't need a lot of motivation. We're Olympians. I bet if you went and interviewed all of those Olympic people who are working, they're likely red. They likely have a dream. They have a vision. They go and figure it out themselves. Okay. So not everybody is like that. Okay. Sometimes you have to kind of spell it out and say, I believe in you. You have greatness in you. And you are running a volunteer army. Okay. These guys don't make anything to go to the Olympics. Now, they may make endorsement rights and they may do things, but y'all, some of these people just show up. Michael even said last night, he's like, what about these archery people? They're not making endorsements. They do it because they love it. They do. You guys are getting paid to do this. Most of these people don't even get paid. These Olympic people, they don't get paid to wear a gold medal. I'm like, Michael, these people go to another country, train for 4 years for a medal. That's it, a medal. I mean, really? A medal, that's it. I mean, I'm not saying that's it. I'm not trying to undermine the fact of a gold medal. It's a huge, does that make sense to everyone? Like, all they needed was, they're not even getting paid. They had a dream to do something bigger than themselves. And guys, you have the opportunity in Plexus to be an Olympian and get paid. So as I'm sitting there and I'm listening, kind of listening to what's kind of being put into me, these are kind of the words that I watched as I was watching the Olympics and I was watching the girls compete in the gymnastics. Okay, I'm going to admit something to you guys. I love DVR. And I do fast forward through some things. So I'm not a complete junkie. I only watch pretty much like the men's swimming and gymnastics. That's like my two favorite things. So the first thing that I wrote down was that these kids made a decision. And these are all D words, which is really weird, but go with it. Okay, they made a decision. So someone said, I see greatness in you, right? Like, they jumped in a swimming pool or they jumped on the gymnastics floor and some coach went up to them and was like, Dawn, I don't know if you know it, but your daughter is really good. Like, you may want to think about taking this to the next level. Dawn sees something in you guys. That's why she invests her time in you, because she sees greatness in you. And she knows that you have the ability to be at an elite level, or she wouldn't invest her time in you guys. She believes in you. You have to do the exact same thing. You've got to help these people make a decision that, and okay, let me give you a little secret. And that's why I asked Dawn before, it's like, this is a leaders meeting. She's like, yes, not everyone is an Olympian. Not everyone is cut out to do this. And not a lot of leaders are going to tell you this. This is something I have learned through going through my downline and realizing not everyone has what it takes. Do I believe that they could be a gold leader, a senior gold? Do I believe they could? I believe almost every single person could get to gold. I absolutely do believe that. But not everybody you work with is going to get to diamond. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. So don't panic if you guys are on here and you're like, I don't know if I'm a diamond. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. But what you have to do is to make a decision to get to where you want to be in your business. You may decide, if you're a gymnast, hey, maybe I just want to go do, college gymnastics. Maybe I just want to go do, I don't know all the terminology for the gymnastics, but there's certain levels. So your role for yourself is to make a decision. Where do I want to be? Do I want to be a gold medalist and be a diamond? Where do you want to be? And you need to let your upline leaders know. Now, as a leader, you need to find out who your diamonds are on your team, because that's what's going to take you to every single level. Okay, so you got to help people make that decision. The next two are something you cannot teach. Okay, you can help people make decisions. You can help them make the next steps. You cannot teach the next two things. This is where you have to turn it over to God, and you just have to pray. The people on that podium, the people when you watch them perform, they have a drive inside of them like nobody's business. They have determination like nobody's business. It does not matter how many times they fall off a balance beam. It doesn't matter how many times they come in 12th place. It didn't matter. They have a drive and determination. It doesn't matter how many Zoom calls Dawn does for you or how many training sessions and this is what I believe got me to diamond. I had a sheer fire, just burning desire in my gut that I was going to make it. Nobody had to coach me, train me. Once I made that decision, once Haley helped me make that decision, she believed in me. She's like, Kendra, I believe you can do this. I know you can do this. I mean, she kind of had to coach me, right? But once I made that decision, I just had a drive of determination, and she didn't have to do anything about it. And a lot of leaders, especially in the summer, or especially maybe when your points aren't rising, or maybe when you're not getting to that next level, what people fail at is they lose their drive and their determination. And Dawn can't give that to you. I can't give that to you. That is a conscious decision to make to take yourself to the next level. So I wish I could teach and train on that, but I can't. That is just a surrender. That is just something that's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw my line in the sand, and I'm going to get to senior gold. I'm going to draw my line in the sand, and I'm going to get to ruby. I'm going to draw whatever level it is that I don't know where everyone's at on the spectrum, but whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to have that drive and determination. So when you're watching the Olympics tonight, I want you to look at those girls and look at those guys and go, how much drive and determination did it take for them to get on that platform and put that gold medal around the neck? A lot. A lot. Okay. The next one. When I watch swimming, and if you guys have never watched it, now you're going to watch it differently because you're going to watch it through my eyes. When they show the world record line, do y'all know what I'm talking about? So like when someone is like swimming, do y'all realize, is it not crazy to you guys that every time someone swims in the Olympics that almost a world record is broken? Doesn't that seem crazy? How many years has the Olympics been going on? You guys may know. I don't know. But I'm pretty certain like hundreds. I mean, I think it's like over 100 years, the Olympic. I don't know. I could be wrong. We can Google it and find out. But every year someone beats a world record. That is crazy to me. But you know what they did is they gave themselves a goal. So when this kid gets out of I think it was Levit, her name starts with an L. And she's this woman swimmer, and she got out and she blew it out of the water. And I think it was her. Anyways, she basically said, I knew I was going to hit that goal. She swam every single day thinking about that number in her head. And she believed it. She jumped in that pool and was like, I'm going for it. And so what that made me think of is the word daily. Every single day, she trains for, I think she swims for 38 seconds. And it was like a 38-second race. She trained every day to know, okay, the world record is 39. I've got to get to 38. She trained every single day, daily, to hit that world record. Don't think just because someone else did it faster or that you can't have your own pace. Pick your pace. If you want to blow this out of the water and do this at a world record speed, do it. Draw your line in the sand, but know what your pace is. And know that it can still, a lot of times people, guys, I have people tell me all the time, well, when you started, I know you went to an Emerald in 6 months and, you did this and that, and it just isn't happening that fast for people anymore. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There are still people breaking people's records in plexus because they decided to work at their own pace. That's just your choice. But when you do, you've got to do it daily. Okay? All right. So another word that kind of came to me when I was watching these kids, and most of them were kids, y'all. Like, there was a girl, I don't know if you guys watched gymnastics, that they made a big deal about her being able to go the all-around because she was 41. I was slightly insulted because I'm 40, and I was like, okay. I'm like, go girl. And they made a big deal out of it because she was 41 years old and she was in the all-arounds, and I was like, oh God, I'm old. But anyways, what I realized is to be in the top 1% of anything, you've got to be a daredevil. You've got to go all in. You got to get outside your comfort zone, and you've got to be a daredevil. Y'all, nobody, if y'all had known me, I mean, I'm praying I'm inspiring you guys, and I'm praying that I'm uplifting you. Y'all, I didn't used to be this way. I knew people would roll their eyes and go, that girl is a hot mess. Like, ain't nobody going to listen to her. Ain't nobody, y'all, trust me, I had no influence. Nobody believed a word I said because I had gone through so much. I mean, I was divorced. I was bankrupt. I was in foreclosure. I was a single mom that was struggling with a sensory child that was like getting kicked out of like he got kicked out of our like children's ministry group, and they put him in like a special group because he was so bad. Y'all, I mean, I'm not joking. It was bad. So, y'all, I was a hot mess, but I decided to be a daredevil. And that's when I watch these kids that are out there. I'm like, do y'all know that their friends are probably like, you have lost your mind. You have absolutely lost your mind. You're not going to the Olympics? And they're like, watch me. Watch me. I'm going to do it. So you've got to have it. I'm telling you guys, to get to the top to get to diamond, if that's what your goal is, you've got to be a daredevil. Okay. The next one. Did anyone watch the gymnastics last night when the girl fell and almost broke her neck? Did y'all watch that? Oh, I couldn't watch it. I had to close my eyes. So I only saw like a snippet. Okay, so the girl is doing this tumbling run. She's phenomenal. She falls back and she literally lands on her neck. I do not know how, by the grace of God, she did not break her neck. But she was flying. I mean, she was probably doing, she was flying. So what I've noticed about her was that she came back out and she actually competed in the vault so that she could get enough points for her team. And the word that came to mind was she was defiant. She was like, don't tell me I can't do this. Do not tell me I cannot do this. Now, of course, I'm certain if her neck was broke, she couldn't have done it, but her neck wasn't broke. And she was like, I'm going to push through the pain and I'm going to be defiant. And that's pretty much what most of us are doing as we get to, you know, the elite group is we're defiant. Don't tell me I can't do this. What Dawn does every single day. Don't tell me I can't beat this crap. I'm going to beat this crap. It's your mindset. You're defiant. You're like, don't tell me I can't do this. Nobody has to wake up every morning and put that inside of Dawn or put that inside of me. You've got to have that defiant personality to say, ain't nobody going to take my dream away from me. The next one was discipline. These people did not make it to the top of the top without being disciplined. I heard them interview Michael Phelps, and he was angry that they had missed the gold medal in the 2012 Olympics. And he was talking, he said, I made a decision when I decided to come back to Rio that I was going to get the gold medal back. I knew I had 3 other people that had to do their part, but I was going to help this team get that gold medal back. And he trained like he had never trained. And he said he didn't train as well for the 2012 because he got cocky. And he's like, we've got this. They didn't. He had to be disciplined, and he had to get in that pool. Y'all, as a diamond, I am still disciplined. I don't kick my feet up. I work just as hard now as I did when I was a silver ambassador. Every single day, I am disciplined in my work ethic. I am disciplined in my goals. I am disciplined in my personal growth. I'm disciplined. And it doesn't mean, y'all, that I don't fall back and my husband has to say, Kendra, like, you know, it doesn't mean that I don't have a mentor, I don't have a coach, or that someone doesn't have to, right? Because that's what these people do. You look at it, but by the time they get to that level and they've made that decision, their coaches are sitting up in the stands watching. Dawn should be able, and I should be able, to sit back and just cheerlead you guys. You guys have a business. You have to be disciplined in your own business to make this dream come true. Does that make sense to everyone? All right. And the last one, what I kept hearing these kids say is they dreamed. I kept hearing them talk about, I dreamed of the day that I would get to see the Olympic circles. Those things don't mean anything. I mean, they don't get to take them home. That they dreamed of the day that they got to stand on a stage and put a gold medal around their neck and have that national anthem played. They dreamed. So many times people fail to dream. And that's what got them to the top of the top. Y'all, I thought about what it was going to be like standing on that stage. I thought about what it was going to be like to go get my Lexus. I didn't just think about it. I dreamed it. And I believed it. And then I did all those other things. I made a decision. I had the drive and determination. I did it daily. I was a daredevil. You know, I jumped in. I tell people I kind of jumped in like naked in an ice cold polar freezing water, not knowing what in the world I was going to do to make this happen. But I was a daredevil. And a lot of people are just standing on the side waiting for someone to tell them what to do. You've got to jump in. And then you got to be defiant. Don't let somebody take this away from you, and you got to be disciplined. You've got, you know, if you are on Dawn Andrews' team, you know what you need to be doing. And Dawn, same thing for us. We know what we need to be doing. I just created a checklist. Dawn can show it to you guys. I created a checklist to hold myself accountable because I need to make certain, am I disciplined in everything that I need to do? We're starting to grow my husband's team. And am I disciplined? Am I doing everything I'm supposed to do to hold myself accountable? So I want you guys to know that no matter what level you're at, all of these things are true. I still have to do these things. I still have to dream. I still have to be disciplined. I have to be defiant every single day of my business. Dawn, I so hope this was helpful.
I don't want it to end. It's so good. I'm like, actually, you got to the defiant part, and I got like teary-eyed. I'm like, I had tears on my page.
Now you're going to be watching the Olympics, and you're going to be like, she got all of that out of the Olympics.
I love it. Well, as you're talking to, I'm thinking about my daughter Morgan, who just won nationals in her dance and everything that you just said is what she's done and did and continues to do. And anyway, so just, I mean, it was just spot on. It's the same thing. Absolutely. And you're right. When I think about like what I always, and Morgan gets really frustrated, like not frustrated, but she's like, oh mom, because we'll talk about her dance and what she's doing in like my plexus, and I'm like, it's kind of like in plexus when you have to dream big, and you know, my convention and getting on that stage is like your nationals, and she's like, oh mom, but it's so true. It's so true that my journey through plexus and her journey through her dance has paralleled, so it's so much the same. And I was the one with Morgan, and I'll never forget this. She was about 10 or 11 years old, and she was really into You So You Think You Can Dance. And I was putting her to bed one night, and she tells me, she's like, Mom, we just finished watching the show. I want to be on that show one day. I want to be on So You Think You Can Dance. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice, honey. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, yeah, you and about 50,000 other little girls that their mom was putting them to bed, right? Like, only the top, there's 1 million little girls out there that want to be top dancers. And I did that to her, and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. All right, night now. And I have gone back to her and said to her lately, and I said, Morgan, I'm sorry for not believing in you. You decided in that night that you were going to be good enough to be on that show. And as your mom, the one that believes in you the most, I was the one that thought, yeah, right. Right. And here she is. I said, you have proved me wrong, and it taught me a lesson for every single one of the rest of my kids. I will never, ever, ever, if they come to me and tell me that they've made a decision to be the best at whatever they've decided, I'll believe them. Anyway, and so it's the same thing with us in our plexus businesses. Believe your people. Believe them when they tell you they want it, and encourage them, and don't be the one that's in your mind thinking, yeah, okay. Anyway, sorry, I just went off on a tangent, Kendra. All right, I want Kendra. We have this gem of Kendra. You guys, amazing. I mean, I told her she was amazing. Questions, and you can unmute because this is a small group. This isn't like a huge team call where we have to, worry about lots of people. Does anybody have anything for Kendra? This is your chance.
So Kendra, this is Dodie. Thank you for jumping on. It was really nice to see you the other day at the training, and you are very real, and I like that. I like that about this company. You are the face of Plexus, and I like that. So I'm a little bit defiant, and I can appreciate that. I really can. So in line with that, how do you keep yourself, you being defiant, but not intimidate or turn people off? Because everybody knows me, and they know that we're all adults here, a badass. I am. I've like, oh, please tell me I can't do this because I'm gonna do it. And it's great when like your mom and your husband and your sisters and your friends, they're all like, yeah, okay, whatever. You do your little plexus thing. You have fun with that now. But how do you go about maintaining yourself, your badass person, without doing things?
I love this question. So my group just finished doing a book study. It happens to be sitting beside me, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I feel like that was something that I have always been trained in. My dad was in the sales force, and he was, okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my story. At one point in my life, Dawn, would you do me a favor? Would you mute the phone call person? If you need to mute everyone, if you just hit mute all, I can unmute myself. I don't know what. Okay, there we go. So my dad at one point in my life, Dodie, was the mayor of our small town. It's not a big deal. It wasn't like prestigious or anything. I think we had maybe 4,000 people in my town. But to me, that was a really big deal, okay, when you're in like the 3rd grade. So he was also a car salesman at the same time, and he was a minister of music at the same time. So my dad knows how to influence people. And so I watched my dad, without knowing what I was doing, how to network and influence people in lots of different situations. So in this business, there's going to be lots of different scenarios that you're going to have to learn how to influence people, and you have to wear different hats. So you have to learn how to push and pull, and you have to learn as a leader how to influence people. So my dad could not go into his, city council meeting with the same type of influence and demeanor as he did when he was working on the car lot. So when he is working on the car lot, he could not influence people the same way that he did on Sunday when he was in, standing on stage as a minister of music. Am I making sense to anyone? Is the analogy making sense? Okay, so in your business, you're going to have lots of different scenarios. You're going to have some people who are, wholesalers that maybe kind of want to work it. You're going to have people who they really just want to make an extra $100, $200 a month. Then you're going to have some people who just want to make $500 a month. They want to get to gold. Then you're going to have people who want to get all the way to the top. Dodie cannot be you have to tailor your badass, I love that, to each scenario. Because as you influence people, if you push someone who just wants to make that's what I asked Dawn. I think I've asked her 4 times, who's on the call? I can't give this talk to my entire team because I would possibly offend or run someone off who's maybe just starting to work the business. Am I making sense to anyone? Okay, so as a leader, you have to know how to win friends and influence people. It is typically what most leaders are just not seasoned in. And I didn't really have to learn it. I did have to learn it. I had to improve on my skills because I didn't, but I realized just by osmosis, I was around it my whole life. I was around a natural networker. I watched my dad come home and influence us, be in the church and influence us, and be on. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's not a concrete answer, but you have to realize you got to love people where they are. Leadership is nothing but love. It's nothing but love. I mean, it's really, if you go read, the definition of love in the Bible and all the things that we're supposed to do for people, that's basic leadership. Mm-hmm. And so when you're leading someone and you're getting frustrated with them, and trust me, I'm preaching to myself, Dodie, so that's why I laughed and I love the question, because I go through seasons, I'm red, I'm driven. I'm like, good Lord, what in the world? Like, why do you not get this? Like, I want to bang my head on the computer, but I have to go back to a servant's heart and I have to figure out how do I influence them. I'm going to tell you, Dodie, typically it's because they're not a badass. Typically. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they've got good. They don't, somewhere along the lines, they've got negative self-talk and they don't believe in themselves. So one of the things of my story that I'm actually excited. I want to start writing about it is falling in love with myself. I know that sounds so weird. And when I say it to people, they're like, oh, she said that. Because we're taught as little girls that we're supposed to, you know, we don't want to be too boastful or too prideful. What? Like, I had to fall in love with who I was. Now, y'all do know that when I'm in love with my husband, there are things about him I don't like, right? Y'all get that. There are things about my kids. I'm madly in love with my children, but they drive me batty. When people are working this business, they've got to first fall in love with who they are. They don't have to like everything about themselves, but I fell in love with me. I fell in love with who God said I was. And so when Plexus came into my life, no matter what challenges he brought me and trust me, Dawn was right when she said this, it has not been a straight up mountain. I mean, it's not been straight up. There have been lots of valleys and dips. And I mean, it's taken me a lot of time to get to this confidence level. But a lot of times, Dodie, when you're working with people, we got to empathize with them. We got to figure out what's holding them back, and we've got to serve them because something in life is holding them back, and it's just not the right timing for them. And it's usually personal growth. So it's great that we're badasses, you know, because I kind of claim that too. I'm like, you know, I got this. I am determined. I'm defiant. I got a desire in my belly. You don't have to take it away from me, but not everybody has that. And so as leaders, you have to love people where they are and go figure out what it is that you can do to invest in their life and love them where they're at, as frustrating as it can be.
Kendra, I'm gonna add to something too, because I love what you're saying about, you know, with people, but I think also sometimes with the defiance, I know I'm thinking about myself. There was lots of people along the way from the time I started in January of 2014, really all the way up to that day December 31st, 2015, when I got the emeralds. There was people that were super close to me in my life that did not believe in me. They thought I had lost it. They thought I was crazy, including, he's not here, but he'll tell you, my husband, my sister, who's still, I mean, there's so many people that have been super close. And so I think, and I want to speak to the defiance in that way, but I was never verbal. It wasn't like an outward get into an argument. It was very internal where I was like, I am going to do this. Yeah. Just watch me. Yeah. I will do this. You watch, and you're just going to watch, and I'm going to be quiet. So I think sometimes our defiance can be just within ourselves, where you just go, you know what? And I love it. It's like, I love the saying, and this is in relation to, you know, preaching the gospel. It says, preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words, right? Our actions speak a lot louder than what we have to say. Yes. And so anyway, yeah. Yes.
And I do believe, Dodie, sometimes, and I have had this happen, I don't know if anybody else that is defiant and driven, sometimes I can almost, I'm trying to think of the correct word, overwhelm people. And because I am so driven that they've told me before, you know, I felt like I was going to disappoint you. So I almost didn't engage because I could never be you. And so I didn't go back and empathize with them. And I kind of just bulldozed over them. And I've kind of had to go back and apologize and be like, listen, I didn't mean to leave you behind, you know, but I am so red and I'm so driven and I'm so badass. We're gonna coin that as Dodie's term. I'm so badass that sometimes as a leader, we're failing to connect and influence the other people. It's always easy to influence the people that are most like us. But unfortunately, in this type of leadership, we don't pick and choose who's on our team. I mean, in my story, you know, I only have 3. Well, I've got a good bit of level 1s. I'm pretty wide, but I've really only got like 3 level 1s that are really working this business. I didn't choose them. I mean, I'll work with whoever, right? I mean, I used to tell people when I first got started, if you had $34.95 and Wi-Fi, you got signed up. Like, I didn't really care who you were. I didn't hire you, Dodie. You know, like I didn't say, Dodie, will you come be my level 1? You know, it wasn't a hiring process. This is a volunteer army. Okay, you want to come join my team? So you don't pick the people that's on your team. So, and then as your team grows, you're going to find even more people that are on your team that you're maybe not alike. And you've got to learn to love these people. You know, you've got to learn how to lead them and love them, even when you're like, you are so not the person that I would have hired. You are so not like me. And that's what makes leadership so powerful. Is learning how to influence people. So I would say if you, and I'm speaking from myself too, I have definitely struggled in that. I think it was one of those, not really God-given gifts, but it was an experience that God placed me in to where I learned how to do it at a very young age. I just didn't realize it. But then as I developed as a leader, that's why I went to John Maxwell stuff. That's why I started learning John Maxwell, because I didn't know how to lead. I knew how to manage, but I did not know how to lead at all. Good question.
Awesome. Anybody other questions for Kendra? All right. Well, I'll ask one while someone else is thinking. So what does your DML look like as a diamond working?
It looks different now since we're working my husband's leg. I'm pretty defiant about growing someone else's team and them not being invested. So until my husband was able to retire and really give the attention and energy that he needed, and we didn't work his leg because I needed him to come home and help me with the kids so I could work my team. So I was not, and I'm not objecting to people doing that at all. For me, I personally want him to have a vested interest in the business. So we are really just now starting to grow his team. So my DMO does look different now than it did when we weren't really growing his team. Does that make sense to everyone when I'm talking about, like, I didn't just place a bunch of people underneath him and grow his team. I feel like he needs to have a connection. We got him to gold, and they're some of my recruits, some of his recruits, but we try to work it together. Because anyways, I don't know. I just think everyone should have some skin in the game in the business. And what I was finding is when I was placing people under him, because I didn't know this at the beginning, I'm thinking, oh, we're double dipping, we're getting more money. But what I was finding is all of those people weren't working the business. And I think it's because they weren't connected to him. They needed to be connected to me. So if I'm going to put someone underneath him, I want to make certain that Michael has a relationship with them and we're going to work this together, because for some reason, I think it like mentally sabotages them or something. I don't know. I'm talking from my own personal experience. It just wasn't working for us. I think people want to sign with the person that they know. So, anyways, that's kind of another side story just of my own story. So my DMO looks different now. Now that Michael and I are really actively pursuing the business, the three things, I actually hired Leslie Zan when my husband retired last month. We hired her for 2 business coaching calls to address the things that we need to always be doing when you are in activity. Okay, you are busting it. You want your points to increase. So this doesn't matter if you're silver, gold, diamond. Okay, doesn't matter. If you want your points to increase, these are the 3 things that you have to do. If the whole world falls out around you and you can't do anything but these 3 things, this is what you want to do. Okay, so if you're sitting here going, I've went backwards in points, or I'm not growing, I'm stuck, here's the secret. Okay, network, prospect, and recruit. Everything else is gravy. So when people tell me, oh, I'm doing this book study, I'm on this Zoom call, I'm going to this training, I'm doing that training, awesome. How many people have you networked with this week? How many people have you prospected, and how many people do you have in your funnel? Because if you're not in activity, your team's not going to grow. So don't count on your team to grow your points. You need to grow your points. So my DMO looks different now, Dawn. We're very, very strategic about what we say yes to. We make certain that we've gotten in. So one of the questions she asked me, she said, this is how I usually determine if someone's in activity. So when you talk about the top 20%, you spend 80% of your time with your top 20%. Well, if you want to define your top 20%, the things that you look for as a leader are how many opportunity meetings are they going to have this month? How many prospects do they have? So when she asked me, when she coached me, she said, so what I want you to do on next week's call is tell me how many people you have on the fence. She said, well, first of all, what is your goal every month? Well, of course, we automatically say, go silver. I want 3 new people this month. Okay. She's like, awesome. How many prospects do you have? I had 5. She's like, how do you think you're going to get 3 new people when you only have 5 prospects? Your goals are not accurate. So my DMO has completely shifted. I have really been networking. I've gotten out from behind the computer. I'm not doing as many training calls because you know what? Monkey see, monkey do. If I want my team to grow, I need to hit the pavement, and I need to work, and I need to network, and I need to prospect, and I need to be recruiting. And as soon as I started doing it, my points started going up. This is not a gravy train. This is not a lottery ticket. We have to be actively pursuing the business every single day if you want your team to consistently grow over time. So my DMO is pretty much those 3 things. Everything else, if I have time, but my best yes, a lot of times I'll say no to something because I'm like, listen, I don't have enough time to, it's the end of the summer. I've got this, I've got that. I can't do that because I've got to make certain that I'm networking, prospecting, and recruiting. So if you're stuck, that's probably it. Go look at your fence sitter list and say, how many people do I have on the fence? That'll usually tell you why you're stuck. And it was me too. I'm telling you guys this because I paid a lot of money for coaching for someone to basically tell me, you're not running your business. You're in management mode. You're managing people. Yes, and that is important. We do have to lead people. We do have to inspire people. But the best way to inspire people is by action, is by doing it. So did that answer your question, Dawn?
Yeah, I think you were talking to me. Thank you.
Sorry. No, it's me too. I mean, me and Michael's, and he's been telling me that for so long. And I'm going to be completely transparent. I mean, there was a period of time where I was like, I can't bring anybody else on. I mean, I got people coming at me left and right. And what I realized is that that's not my role. My role is not to babysit people. My role is not to be an HR department. My role is not to be customer service.
Well, here's a ridiculous story that I've told myself is, well, if I'm really in activity and I'm really reaching out and I'm effectively recruiting and bringing in all these people like I did in the beginning, I don't have enough time to do a good job teaching them, training them, and helping them be successful. So it's better if I just hold back, because if I'm not going to do a good job, then maybe I shouldn't do it at all. Okay, thank you for making me say that. And having that kind of ownership in my own thinking. Oh, if I reach out to 10 people and 5 of them want samples, do I have time? Because I've got challenges and coaching calls and trainings and all this other mess that I've, but anyway.
This is what someone said to me. It was a very wise diamond. She said, I've never really been a fan of, and I'm not going to say the person's name because she didn't give me permission, but I believe with every fiber of my being in what she said. She said, when we got started, Kendra, we didn't have a lot of group trainings. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have IPAs. We didn't. We hoofed it. We reached out to people. We networked. We told people. We had op meetings. We had sip and sees. We got out there belly to belly every day. That's how we grew our business. And she's like, I feel like sometimes all of these groups and all is becoming non-income producing. because they're doing too many tasky things when nobody told us to do any of those things. We just did it. And so sometimes I think we can make this. Leslie Zan even said to me, she's like, Kendra, she was like, hang on, let me see if I have it. I don't have it with me, but she's like, Kendra, she said, it's really simple. Your product and your business, it's a pink packet and a water bottle. You put it in, you shake it up, and you hand it to someone. She's like, some network marketing companies, you have to learn how to sell insurance. You've got to learn how to put makeup on. You've got to learn a product line that's like massive. It's pretty much a pink drink and some supplements. She's like, and they work. She's like, I don't understand why it's so complicated. You guys are way overcomplicating this. It is belly to belly, meeting people and telling people about the product, what it's done for you, and what this compensation plan can do for them. I think we're overcomplicating it, in my opinion. I mean, I love the tools, and I don't ever want to take those away. And I've been there, Dawn. I'm just like you. Oh my gosh, well, I've got to do this Zoom call. Okay, that's asinine to think that I need to stop recruiting and networking when I am a professional network marketer, to think that, because your team's going to duplicate that. They're going to follow in your footsteps. So if Dawn is not networking, prospecting, recruiting, then her team's going to say, oh, well, for her to be proud of me and for her to think I'm being a leader, I need to do the same thing Dawn's doing. So it's me. It's my story. I claim it. I own it. I went out of activity, and I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't.
Good.
Yes, I do. I will take one more question. I have to go.
You do.
I had to go get my kids to go to tutoring, and they're all the way in like another state.
Well,
so
thank you for choosing to train us, because we know that you get nothing out of it except us telling you that we love you. Anybody?
Oh no. See, that's the thing. That's what I tell people. The best way, I will leave y'all with this. The best way to convict yourself is to go tell it to someone else. I will be on fire the rest of the day because you guys let me pour into you. Because I got to walk the walk and talk the talk. I mean, I can't get on here and you guys admire me, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and be like, oh my gosh, she inspired me, which I hope I did, for me not to go walk the walk and talk the talk. So no, this was more for me because it pours into me too. I mean, I do it because I just believe that everything we do, if we do for others and you feel called to do it, it will come back tenfold. I absolutely believe that. But really, for you to feel convicted over something, go teach it to somebody. Because once you teach it, it's like, it's in you. It's like, well, I've already, it's one thing to just write it down. It's another thing to go and pick somebody and say, hey, I want to teach you what I learned today. That's what I'd love to challenge you guys to do. What you learned today, go duplicate it. Go and tell somebody, because when you tell it to somebody, it makes it real. So no, thank you for letting me watch the Olympics last night and actually share with you guys what I took away from it. Now you guys are going to be watching the Olympics tonight thinking completely different, aren't you?
Okay, I think we're good. We've held you for an entire hour. So thank you.
You are so welcome.